It is an inevitable part of aviation history that aircraft types get retired, although these days it does seem more frequent and faster happening than ever before. Brussels, for example, has retired all their Airbus A330-200, so the only thing that is left for us to remember them are these models. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at an Airbus A330-200 of Brussels Airlines. At the front of the box we have a cutout so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and on top of the box we have the Brussels Airlines branding. Then on the back side of the box we have a lovely image of the aircraft in real life. We're provided with the original dimensions of the aircraft and the Brussels Airlines branding once more. What a lovely box design. Wonder why Herpa can't do this today anymore. And here she is, the Airbus A330-200 in the current standard livery of Brussels Airlines. The aircraft model was created by Herpa Wings back in 2013, when this aircraft type was still very much in active service with the airline. So let us take a closer look at the aircraft model itself to see what it actually has to offer. And as always, we start our tour around the aircraft with a look at the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer find the Brussels Airlines branding. On the fuselage we then find the web address of the airline, the Belgian flag, the flag of the European Union, as well as the full registration code of the aircraft. And towards the very tail of the aircraft, we then also have a little bit of detailing around the APU exhaust. At the front of the aircraft and across the fuselage we then have the Brussels Airlines branding, and we do also find a Star Alliance logo, of which the airline is a full member. The cockpit section itself well offers us the cockpit windows with the window wipers, and that's all the details that Herpa managed to get onto this aircraft model back in 2013. The engine nacelles of the Pratt & Whitney engines have the silver leading edge printed on and have been kept in this light purple or light bluish color that we find on the belly of the aircraft. The color changes quite dramatically depending on the light, so we don't really get many printed details here. The physical detailing, however, is quite nice, especially when we look into the front with the engine fan blades rather nicely visible. From the engines we can move on to the wings, which we should definitely also take a closer look at, starting over the top side, where we can see the different flaps, slats and spoilers have been carved out rather nicely, and we have some different shades of grey for additional detailing. The underside of the wings also does have some fairly reasonable detailing. Here we also find the full registration code of the aircraft, and very lovely, and my highlight on the wings are the winglets, which also have the Brussels Airlines branding printed on. The landing gear is the standard landing gear that Herpa uses for all the Airbus A330-300s. That in itself is not a bad thing because it actually looks rather reasonable. The only thing I am missing here are some printed details around the front landing gear. That, however, is also not unusual for Herpa Wings, as they pretty much always forget that detail. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments printed on here at the back of the aircraft and here at the front of the aircraft. So there we have it, the Airbus A330-200 in the current standard livery of Brussels Airlines from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? It is actually quite funny to see how much the color of the belly of the aircraft changes depending on the light. Sometimes it is a light blue, sometimes a light purple. Now this is not the fault of Herpa, this is just the nature of that color. However, I would say that perhaps Herpa has saturated the color just a tiny bit too much in my opinion, but overall I think they have done a decent job with this aircraft model, even though of course it lacks many details. But that is not unusual for Herpa Wings models back in 2013 when this aircraft model was new, or even today. So it is very much a standard model from Herpa Wings, so ultimately if you are looking for a highly detailed aircraft model you will have to look elsewhere. The good news is if you are looking for a scale 500 model, there is actually an alternative from Sky 500 which I have already reviewed, so feel free to check that out. This model I would recommend for one's collection if you have a special connection to Brussels Airlines and are missing the A330-200. For that it is a decent piece of memorabilia, otherwise I would probably go for something else. Now with that we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video then why not leave a like, that would be very much appreciated, and of course if you are new around here why not hit subscribe, that would be absolutely awesome. With that I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out and bye.